Hello everyone and welcome to the last day of September. This is the last day of Shorty September, but we're actually getting ready to move on to another readathon called Camp Crystal Lake. So here is the plan for today. I'm going apple picking at my cousin's apple orchard with my brother, sister-in-law, and nephew. And then I'm going to Art Prize to visit a different cousin who basically made the top 25. So Art Prize is this outdoor art festival in Grand Rapids. Well, it's outdoor and indoor. Basically, all these people create art and it's all over the city. So you just walk around the city, view art, and then you get to vote on what is the best art. And it's already over and my cousin didn't win, but she made the top 25 and I think that's really cool. So I'm gonna go visit her and then just view all the other art, get some good snacks hopefully when I'm in Grand Rapids, and then when I come home I need to finish making sure my apartment is completely ready because at midnight British time, 7 p.m. my time, the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon begins. And I am basically going to be reading as much as I can until I burn out. So please follow me and enjoy the first little bit of the Camp Crystal Lake Readathon. It's like almost 4 p.m. which means that I have quite a few, well, not quite a few, but a few more hours until the readathon starts. I was feeling hungry, but like also like done with Grand Rapids because I just needed to chill at home because I have to work all day tomorrow. And so I decided, okay, I'm coming home and then I'm gonna get tacos. Well, actually a burrito from Qdoba because I like it better than Chipotle. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is I decided to go to Barnes & Noble first just to visit the books. And you know that never goes well. Not only did it not go well, but I didn't realize that today was actually this library event at Barnes & Noble. It's connected to my library, Hackley Public Library, and basically it's called like the Trail of Michigan Writers or something like that. So they have all these local they have all these local authors that are at Barnes & Noble, and as far as I know, there were only 2, but that's not true. They're like everywhere in the store, like all throughout the aisles. There are just like booths set up with the authors. And so the first person that I saw, hang on, was this person, the author of House of Roots and Ruin. It is Erin A. Craig, and here's the deal. I saw this before at Barnes & Noble. I read the inside. It sounded super, super interesting. I loved the pages. Like that purple is just a beautiful shade of purple, and I love it when the edges are colored, and it seems like a perfect book for fall. And I did not pick it up the last time I was in Barnes & Noble, but I wanted to, and I'm so glad I didn't because the author was here today, and so she signed it for me. But also it turns out that like where she lives now is really close to where I grew up, and yeah, we basically like swapped lives because she is from closer to where I live now, and then she now lives closer to where I am from. So yeah, anyway, it was really fun chatting it up with her, and she like got engaged with my story about Camp Crystal Lake. So that's always nice. Like I feel like authors are the people that you can talk nerdy to and they appreciate it. So that was fun, and I love her, and I will follow her on social media, and hopefully her book is good too, because that would be awesome if it was good. Okay, then just walking along, I see this other author, and she has some book on the Mackinac Bridge. Cool. Okay, nice. Some local history. That's always good for kids, right? Okay, but then she has this book. Now, for a bit of context, with my students, I have one group where we focus on actually like phonemic awareness and phonics, and another group where I rely heavily on more comprehension skills and actually putting them in front of writing and allowing them to develop different strategies to read it appropriately and to understand it. So we are reading these nonfiction articles that are written at like an easier reading level and that are completely decodable based on the phonics rules that my kids know. And one of them that we read recently was about exploding whales. Basically, sometimes whales are beached and then their bellies just fill up with gas, and eventually, if they are not taken care of, they explode. And it is bloody and disgusting. And we won't go into more detail, but my kids loved it. They loved it so freaking much. So this author has a book that deeply connects to what I was just saying, and it's called Whale Fall Cafe, and it is by Jackie Sewell? I should have asked her how to pronounce her last name. Maybe I will look it up on YouTube. Anyway, this is essentially the opposite. So if they don't get beached and blow up, they could just sink to the bottom of the ocean and become like basically food for like, I think she said like 4,000 years. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to read the book and find out, but she has done research on it. And yeah, they are just like this beautiful source of food for so many creatures in the ocean. And I think, number one, this book will be really interesting for me, but number two, my kids are gonna freaking love it. And finally, a book that I bought solely based on its cover, or at least I should say, rewind. I picked it up based on its cover. It is called The Perfect Guests, and it is by Emma Roos. Not a local author. This is just one I randomly found. I did have another of her books on my shelf. I think I gave it to my mom to read. Anyway, The reason that this book actually ended up coming home with me, or is about to come home with me since we're in the car right now, is because it takes place in East Anglia, and I actually know where that is now because I have been there, and so I want to read it. But basically it's dual timelines. There's something going on in 1988 where a 14-year-old goes with her aunt to stay at Raven Hall, which is in East Anglia, and it's just like a crumbling manor. But at times Beth even feels like she's truly a part of the family until they ask her to help them with a harmless game, and nothing is ever the same. Okay, but then also in 2019, there's an actress who's kind of struggling financially, and she gets invited to basically play a guest at this party, which I'm guessing, yes, is at the same place as well. So she has like this whole like info sheet on who she is and what her role is and all that sort of stuff, so that she can pretend to be a guest at this party. And it says Sadie starts to feel there's something off about the glamorous guests who arrive, and as the party begins, it becomes chillingly apparent that the unseen host is playing games with everyone, including her. There are 5 minutes until this readathon starts. It is exactly 5 minutes to midnight in the UK. Here, it's only 6:55. But anyway, I want to show you what I'm going to read first. So basically, the first 24 hours, whoever gets the most points gets extra points for their team. Like, there's like a bonus for having the most read in 24 hours, or the most points in general. Although I guess right now there's no movies, it's only books. But I am going to start with a shorty, you know, to wrap up Shorty September, and also because, you know, I want to get a lot of points, right, in the first 24 hours. So this book is called Honeymoon, and it was actually recommended to me by Antoine Wilson, the author of Mouth to Mouth. Basically, I asked him, your book is super unsettling and I freaking loved it. What else would you recommend that might be similar to your book? And this is what he recommended. So I don't want to read the back because the back always gives way too much away, but I will read it and let you know. In order to count for points for this readathon, the book has to be 100 pages or more. And this one is 119. All the other books are way longer. I don't have like a bunch of shorties on the list because I want to read what I want to read. I don't want to read for points, although this one is helping me with points. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to start this. I need to pick out a bath bomb because I'm going to start it in the bath, but I am so ready. I have snacks. I have a tent in my living room because this is Camp Crystal Lake. I have fairy lights. I mean, this is going to be basically epic. Okay, so I read about 30 pages in the bathtub. This book talks about this guy who is our narrator, and he basically is somebody who travels and then like records themselves and creates documentaries on their traveling, and he is just basically waiting for this train that's going to take him to Paris. He has 4 hours to wait, and he decides to go to this hotel lobby just to have a drink and escape the heat and, you know, just chill for a bit. And the bartender makes him a drink and they're just chatting. And he basically talks about this woman who a few days before in the hotel committed suicide and just how much drama it caused for the hotel. So our narrator actually becomes quite obsessed with this whole story and kind of investigates it and realizes that he actually knew the woman who committed suicide. And so this is kind of being told like in a flowing sort of timeline, I would say. And he is now going back to the time that he met her, and he's talking about how he did know her, but it was just like kind of a brief encounter, and he didn't really know her that well. And basically he was traveling, ran out of money because someone stole it actually, so it's not even really running out of money. And there was this husband and wife who helped him. Basically, he was kind of trying to hitchhike. They picked him up and they were acting real shady the whole time, but ended up booking him a first class like train ticket to where he needed to go, and then also sneaking money into his bag so that he could get home safely. So that's where I am right now, and we will see where this is going. But the tone and like the feeling is very, very similar to Mouth to Mouth. So that makes sense so far why Antoine Wilson recommended it. It is 8:40 and I just finished my first book for the Camp Crystal Lake readathon. This had similar vibes and like tone to Mouth, and also had kind of Gentleman in Moscow vibes, but overall it was much more serious. And yeah, there wasn't like a shock factor at the end, I don't think, like Mouth to Mouth had. But I did find this deeply interesting, and I'm not quite sure yet why. Like, it was like just the feel of it was cool. But it's interesting how obsessed our narrator becomes with these people. So basically, another thing that I didn't say is that he is like this travel guy, right? So he's supposed to go to Rio de Janeiro, and he basically like ditches the people and goes somewhere else instead of going there. Like, all his like teammates, his crew, whatever, are meeting him there, and he just goes somewhere else, like on purpose. Like, he's basically trying to disappear. And he basically spends the majority of the book then talking about this woman who killed herself, and it's almost like her story crowds him out, and he kind of like disappears as the book goes on, only reappearing again at the very end. So her story and her husband's story are super interesting, but you also never really find out like the whole story. So there's some bits that I still am not quite certain on, but it's just like, do you ever really know the people that you spend time with? And this also covers World War II, so there's also like that, like, what does survival look like during a war? And I don't even know, like, who do you become, or what do you do for survival? So yeah, I think I liked it. I think I would give it 4 stars, but this is one that is, you know, a bit unsettling and different, and I feel like I need to just kind of like keep with it and just think about it for a bit longer, because I think this book might be one that will stay with me for a bit. So anyway, I think that I'm going to film 1 vlog per book. So I'm going to end this here, and we will see what else I'm able to read for Camp Crystal Lake.